Seersucker soup on a hot summer day. Coffee comes back in a nerve-wracking way. The dishes and laundry take the garbage out. What a day, what a day, what a day. Kids got their quizzes and I've got a date.
Well, welcome to Capital Region today. I'm so happy you're joining us today. We have a really great lineup today with just information you're going to want to know. We're going to be starting out with our first guest. Our first guest will be from the Landis Arboretum. Lots of questions on plants we're going to be talking about. Then we're talking with Mary from the Schenectady Historical Society, and we'll be talking about Earth Night. We've heard about Earth Day. This is Earth Night, but we'll learn more about it. It's a free event you'll want to maybe partake in, as well as their upcoming exhibition as well. And Schenectady Light Opera is doing a production called Violet. Let's find out what Violet is about. It looks really interesting. And then we're going to be talking about the Spina Bifida Association and what they're doing, and they have a walk and roll that they come up with. They have a lot of events to raise money, but we're going to find out just a little bit more about what Spina Bifida is and how it can be prevented. And we will then be talking with Roger Savoy. He's with Homebrew Emporium. And businesses have faced a lot of challenges during this COVID or the pandemic or the coronavirus, whatever you want to call it anymore. And we're going to be finding out what a business person really had to put up with and how they had to survive through this. So I'm really happy that he's on today. But we're going to start right out with Fred Briglia, and he is the executive director of Landis Arboretum. They're located over in Esperance, New York. And just before the show, I threw a question at him, and I think I'll throw it at him again. I just found a plant growing in the side of my yard in my flower bed called garlic mustard. What is it called?
Yeah, it's garlic mustard. It's an invasive species. It has some culinary usage, so it's not all bad. But unfortunately, like so many invasives, the seeds are very prolific. They're almost all viable. They can grow in shade. It can grow in sun, and it often outcompetes a lot of natives. So unfortunately, you finding that. If you found it early on, I think it's a good thing. Try to pull it up by the roots. Don't let it go to seed.
I have about 6 or 8 of them. They're just like boom, 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 boom.
Yeah, and you'll see more. So what I say is keep on it. You can keep ahead of it, especially in more gardens. In the woodlands, it gets a little harder, but it pulls out really easy. And when you pull it out, you can also enjoy some culinary uses for it, including pesto.
I would just cut the leaves off. And
you could eat the little tiny shoots when they first come out, and those will actually be like sort of a poor man asparagus with a little bit of a garlic flavor to it. And then you could also use the leaves, and you don't need to be...
So totally edible.
Totally edible, yep. I like to use all the new growth and all the small leaves. It's more tender and has a better taste. The older leaves tend to be a little tougher.
I think I'm going to have a crop,
stronger,
I'll tell you that.
But you probably will. It's you really don't have to try too hard to grow this one.
Right. Now
better to try to keep it out of your garden.
No, I'm going to take care of that. I just had never seen it before, and it was like, what is this? Is this supposed to be something that's supposed to be there? Although I've never seen it before. Because I have a variegated colored, kind of growth on the ground, and then this thing is coming. What is it?
Yeah, you're wondering where it came from or what, and it probably just blew in through the wind, possibly any. And it's all around us.
Yeah, I'll ask you one more question, then we're going to talk about Landis. What about the stinkhorn mushrooms? I got infested with them, and I'm using vinegar to try and get rid of them. But you got any tips?
They're not. They have a very short lifetime. They probably are living. Yeah, they probably are. Hence the name stinkhorns. They live in your mulch, and a lot of times is when you'll find them.
Mulch,
so they came in with spores on the mulch. The good news is that they're not really going to cause any harm to your garden.
No, but they smell.
But they do smell. Yep. So and it's a short life cycle. So
I go in there. I dig them up, and I take the bulb out from underneath, and I put them in a plastic bag, and I hope that they die.
Yep, and you want to just get rid of them.
Exactly.
So you got a few little challenges for the growing season.
My 2 questions that maybe it helped you as a viewer that have run into the same problems that I have run into.
Yeah, most of the mushrooms will live in harmony with plants. So some of them have what we call mycorrhizal relationships. They actually attach to root systems and actually help plants, but not all of them do. Some cause harm.
And their roots are like little thin strings. I mean, I'm trying to get all the roots out and everything.
Yep, it's the mycelium, which is what the fungal roots are. And like I said, some of them have really great symbiotic relationships with plants and actually help plants. They also have some bad ones in there too. The stinkhorn's not a bad one, but the garlic mustard is a little bit more of a, let's keep on that and
Yeah.
keep it
Well,
away.
I've been working on it. I probably dig up about 2 pounds a day,
Oh, boy.
so of
Keep-
them, really.
keep on
Every
it.
day.
Wow, that's quite a bit.
I have a lot of them, yeah, working at it. But anyway, that's my issue. Now, let's talk about Landis
All right.
Arboretum and
Absolutely.
talk about, in Esperance, you have a big plant sale coming up, and what kind of plants would I find there?
Yeah, we have a lot of rare and unusual plants, a lot of things that you're not going to see at the common garden centers. We also focus on a lot of perennials, annuals, herbs. We have a lot of organic veggie starts, so heirloom veggie starts, so if you want to start a veggie garden. We
What's
also,
an heirloom? You hear about heirloom tomatoes, and they never look quite right to me.
You know, they're old varieties, and there's a lot of good things that can be said about old varieties, but there are also a lot of new varieties out that sometimes even can outperform some of the heirlooms. A lot of those are also organic varieties, and we'll have a combination of the both. A lot of the heirlooms are sort of what we call tried and true plants. They often perform fairly well and don't have as many issues, but when you get some of those new cultivars, sometimes you can have problems, but some of those are really, really good. And we'll have some Landis grown offerings at the sale that we're actually growing ourselves. We have a bunch of, in fact, the propagation room right now is filled up. We've got,
Oh, so you start these yourselves?
we start a lot of them. We also have a lot of consigners that will bring plants in, focused on a lot of cold hardy stuff, but we are growing a bunch of things this year. We have flowering baskets, we have corkscrew willows, which were actually planted by our founder, Fred Lape, in the 50s, and we're cloning them.
Really, and you're still doing it?
Yeah, cloning those same willow plants. We also are doing a bunch of fruit trees this year, including some really cold hardy peaches, one called Red Haven and another one cold hardy Red Fury. And Red Fury is actually one of the largest peaches in the world. And it's
I
also
love
one of the
peaches,
most
yeah.
cold hardy of all the peaches.
Yeah.
So a lot of folks, when you say you can grow peaches in New York, they're surprised. But not only can you grow them, you can grow them well. And one of the biggest ones in the world, the Red Fury, cold hardy
Red Fury?
They call it that for a reason. It's a big red peach.
One
It has an
for a
incredible.
pie. One for a pie.
They say you can feed a family with a peach. So
Wow,
we're talking
wow.
about big peaches,
That's
and they
really
actually
peachy.
do really good in New York State. So no problem growing them, and they have great
So
flavor.
we're going to change it from the big apple to the big peach.
We might be trying to do that, but we will have apples as well, a few different varieties of apple trees. So fruit trees for sure, and like I said, all your organic veggie starts. We have rare and unusual trees, shrubs, perennials, herbs, annuals. It's kind of a one-stop shop. We also have a book sale that'll take place
With
as well.
probably on plants and things.
A lot of gardening books, but a lot of other topics as
Okay.
well, and it's staged in our old historic barn. I like to call it Barn and Noble. I left the S out. I don't think that's a copyright infringement there.
Wow, I love it though.
But it's an awesome book sale, and a lot of gardening related stuff. And we also have arguably one of the best bake sales around.
And a bake sale too. So
bake
this
sale,
is a
too.
party.
It really is. It starts on the 14th and 15th, but if you are a member of the Landis Arboretum, you actually can come out on the 13th in the evening from 4 to 6, I believe. All the info is on our website, landisarboretum.org. And if you are a member, basic membership starts at $35. It gets you 10% off all of your order. You also get to come on a Friday night and sort of pre-shop, and you're allowed to buy plants that
Now,
evening as well. So
in the
you get
pa-
first choice as a member.
In the past, when you've been on, you've had like concerts and things and weddings at at the Landis. Do you still do that?
Yes, we are definitely doing more of that than ever. We have a full moon music series. In fact, all of the details and dates should be on our website already. We also have calendar events of literally programs for adults focused on nature education. I'm doing one in June on pruning. We also have children programs as well. George Steele, our nature educator, does a really good job.
He's been on the show before.
And
yeah,
he's been on the show
really
before
great
as
guest,
well.
great guest,
Yep,
yeah.
and he's doing a whole bunch of family programs, and we'd like to say, children's programs for kids of all ages as well. And the Meeting House complex has actually been expanded.
And we've been showing some pictures on the screen too.
Yep,
of
great.
what they- yeah.
Yeah, we have a new patio that's expanded. The deck itself is part of the Meeting House complex. The Meeting House complex not only holds all of our educational programs, but and concerts. It also is headquarters for the 5K race that we've been doing for over a decade now. 5K
You are an
run,
asset
walk.
to Esperance, that's for sure.
You know,
I mean,
we're doing what we like, and we're having a lot of fun doing it,
Yeah.
and it's good to be part of the solution and offer a lot of plant advice. The plant sales are unique because we also have a really great staff of knowledgeable experts.
They can explain.
That can explain it.
Which
and,
you don't get if you go to some places, you go, what about this? I know that I wanted to get a shade plant, and I stopped at a place that sells plants, you know, and I said, I need a good shade plant, and he says, I don't know anything about it, and I'm going, oh my gosh.
Exactly. So,
Yeah.
you know, you were not going to get that kind of an answer at the Landis
so
Arboretum
it's really
sale.
good to go to a place that really knows their stuff, which of course you do. I'm going to ask you one question that may perplex others. It perplexes me. When you talk about organic plants, okay, I took chemistry. I'm a
Okay.
chemistry major, okay. I took inorganic chemistry, and I know what that is, and I took organic chemistry. Organic is anything with a CH3 group or something, you know, that. Why are some plants organic and some not? Tell me, because I gotta know.
Well, it's basically the way that they're grown. So
You're talking
so
about
you could
pesticide-free.
pesticide-free,
Okay.
fungicide-free.
But they're all
but there are
organic, right?
But there are organic pesticides and fungicides that are used. So, you know, a lot of people think, you know, organics, you're not using anything. Well, you are, but you often are using it's an
safe
organic, a safer way.
Yeah.
A little bit better for the planet, a little bit better for a lot of the pollinators.
And we need to be thinking
and a
about
lot of
the
the
planet.
beneficials.
Yeah.
Exactly. We're growing right now, everything at the Arboretum that we're growing inside as 100%, so far chemical-free. It's no,
Yeah.
and including all the organics. We don't use anything at all. So far, just keeping plants healthy, which is the emphasis of plant health care. If you can keep a plant healthy, it's kind of like humans. You keep us healthy, you keep our immune systems up, we're less likely to get a problem,
And keep
less likely.
those plants' immune systems up as
And,
well.
and that's what we're doing. We're basically doing that exact same thing
I
with
try not to
plants,
put
so-
anything on my plants because I'm going to eat them. So,
Yep.
you know, or I mean my vegetables.
Absolutely.
Because I'm going to put it in my body. I don't want it on there. If it's a bad, you know, if there's a bug on it, I take the bug away.
Absolutely. Most trees and shrubs will do really well if you put them in the right spot, and they're a good solid plant to begin with. And I also would say, you know, genetics are not created equal when it comes to plants. Some plants are going to be more prone to mildews and molds
yep.
and funguses, and even more prone to insect attacks. So we do a lot of research, and we actually try to find which varieties are more resistant, because if you get a good resistant variety, something like river birch, you never really have to worry about one of the pests that bother the birch borer. You don't need to spray it because it just doesn't attack it. But if you plant other birch species, they could be more prone to getting attacked by pests. And
Well,
we
and
do that
there's
across the board with all of our plantings.
Isn't there an ash thing? Because my neighbor
There
just
is.
had to take down 3 or 4 trees because they were infected.
There is. There's an emerald ash borer. It's in another
That's
one of
what he
these
talked
invasives.
about, yeah.
You mentioned the garlic mustard in your garden, and that's an invasive plant. But we also have invasive insects, and we have invasive fungal problems as well. And the emerald ash borer is an invasive insect, an example of that. It unfortunately eats almost every species of ash. So at this point, us landscape professionals are no longer
Putting any
recommending
ash
ash
in.
trees right now out for
Yeah.
for
In
planting.
other words, you have to remove the cause of it, and then maybe those insects will die out because
Yep.
they have nowhere to.
Hopefully, in
Who
their
knows?
native ranges, they all have natural controls. When they are brought out from where they're native to a different spot, they don't have those controls, and then they get a better handle on being able to take over.
Yeah.
That's been one of the big
Well,
problems with
that's
invasives.
That's what happens when you bring in a species, an animal species that
Yep.
has no predators. You know,
Exactly,
and you're-
exactly, yep.
Fred, I want to thank you for being here. And one more time, when is the plant sale?
Yep, the plant sale's May 14th, 15th of May. Visit our website, landisarboretum.org. The Meeting House complex is completely available for rentals, for weddings.
Weddings, I know
board
you've done
retreats,
weddings, yeah.
corporate gatherings. It's completely Wi-Fi enabled. And the grounds of the Arboretum are open dawn to dusk, free of charge, whether you're a member or not. Come visit Landis Arboretum. We have miles of hiking trails. And,
It's a great place to visit.
yep.
I've been there, and what I really love is when you walk through, everything's labeled, you know what the plants are. I
Absolutely.
mean, I love it. You guys do a great
Yep,
job.
if you ever
there.
have plant questions, feel free to shoot me an
Good.
email or
I
a call.
will.
You got it,
After I
anytime.
emailed you about that mustard garlic.
Absolutely,
Okay, good.
yep. And
Thank-
we'll send you some recipes for
Okay, good.
its destruction.
I'll need those. Thank you.
Be well. Thanks again for having me, Ann.
Thanks for being here, Fred. We're going to switch over to another great organization that does some similar things, maybe not so much with the plants, but you do a lot at the Maybe Farm with concerts and things, and as they do too. So tell us, what is Earth Night. I know that's going to be on Earth Day, but it's going to be at the night. What is that? Mary Zawacki, she's the executive director of the Schenectady Historical Society. Thank you for being here.
My pleasure. I wish I had the wealth of knowledge that he had. That was very
Well, you're not
impressive.
doing plants. That's a good thing.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so we are really excited to host Earth Night. It's free. It's on Earth Day, April 22nd. It is about the earth, but it's also about culture and history and all of the things that we like to do at the Schenectady County Historical Society.
You are
So-
such an impact on the community.
Thank you.
No, really, you do so much for with your concerts and your sales and all the wonderful things that you do. And I enjoy visiting the Maybe Farm as well as the museum. So,
Well, that's great to hear.
yeah.
Yeah, we wanted to highlight some local artists who are doing environmental art. That's to say, their materials or the focus of their art some way.
They could be painting a tree, or they could be using bark to create
Exactly.
a picture.
The message is somehow
Yeah.
tied to the environment. We also have some earth-conscious musicians who are coming in to do a show, and then alongside that, we'll have about 10 different workshops going on every half an hour the whole night. So
And that's going to be a free event?
it's free. Yeah, it's everything from.
Is that going to be in the education center?
Well, we hope it will be outside.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Well, the weather's going to be good.
Right, that's
Yeah,
what
of
I'm
course,
telling
yeah,
myself.
yeah.
Right, we do have the barn just in case.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, Cornell, the cooperative extension will be there. We'll have a few experts to talk about herb gardens and farming.
And
compost.
mustard garlic?
I don't think that's on the itinerary.
It's on the
but
agenda.
I could see if we could include that. Yeah, we'll have crafts and things for kids, for adults. It should just be a nice, relaxed night. We'll end with a campfire, of course.
Yeah, and now you've got also an exhibition, and it's an intriguing title, Hobby to History, or was it History to Hobby? What has Susie put together for this?
Yes, I wish she could be here to talk about it, but in her place, we have so many collections. We're a museum. We have a lot of stuff, right?
But let me tell you, I went to your library, genealogy library, I call it genealogy because that's what I was doing. I was amazed at your library, and I immersed myself in books that I didn't, even the ones I didn't really need to look at, I had to
Yeah,
look at.
I know.
Yeah.
That's me every day.
Thank
I go
you,
into
thank
work.
you, thank you, yeah.
Yeah, so what we did was we took a look at some of the collections that other people had donated to us in the past, things that we hadn't really had an opportunity to display or talk about in the last 2 decades, and we kind of developed and curated an exhibition around that, along with borrowing some collections from people in the community.
Oh, okay.
For example, we have a great collection of Native American contemporary art objects that we borrowed from the State Museum, so people in Schenectady don't have
great.
to go all the way to Albany.
Yeah.
They can just stop by and
And they had a
check that out.
wonderful collection because I've been to that
They
museum.
really do.
Yeah.
Yeah, they really do. So yeah, it's just kind of about the why do we collect things? What's that impulse? And locally in Schenectady,
I'm ashamed to say
what do you collect?
well, for a while I was collecting raccoon, little statues of raccoons.
Really?
I love raccoons.
Interesting.
Yeah, I really do. I think they're the most incredible creatures.
I wish that we had known that, so we could have included
I
them.
have an entire collection of raccoons, all kinds of raccoons. I'm ashamed to say.
No, don't be ashamed. That sounds really cute.
So yeah, we do collect. Yeah.
Everyone does.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're doing Native American that you borrowed from the museum, but what have you put out from local residents besides raccoons?
We have an antique bottle collection from a local resident. We have one resident who collected vintage film posters, so those are on display. Yeah, it's just kind of a lot of fun stuff, pulled together really well. Of course, we have some beautiful textiles from the 17 and 1800s as well. Everything, a little bit of everything.
Well, if you ever do one on pharmacy, let me know. I got a lot of great collected items.
On pharmacies?
Of course, I'm a pharmacist. I was a pharmacist all my life. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
Keep
I
that
got
in
some
mind.
great, the pill rollers and making tablet tritrits and stuff. I've got great stuff.
Fun.
Yeah, someday we'll talk. Yeah. So when is this exhibit on?
We just opened, so it will be up through November.
Okay.
We're there almost every day, just closed
And
on
then from
Sundays.
November you go into your trees.
Yeah, but I'm not thinking about that yet.
Amazing. You do the trees with the YWCA. Yeah.
Right.
So, and I love the museum. It's not huge, but it certainly it packs a wallop when you're in there, and you can look through the different rooms and see the different exhibits that are on there.
Yeah, we like to think that we hit all of the big points in Schenectady history in a way that is easy to understand and fun to engage with.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any artifacts like that were, they talked about in the stockade digging up stuff and finding a piece of a post or whatever it is? I'm making that up because I don't know.
No, but it's true because some local archaeologists in the last year just stumbled upon what they think is the stockade fence. So absolutely.
The original.
Absolutely. Well, I mean, there were so many versions of it.
Well, I'm sure. Yeah.
But yeah.
We can call it the original.
The original. Yeah.
Unless we carbon date it.
Almost every week we get a call from someone in that neighborhood who says, I was digging in my yard and I found this. And
do they find dishes? Because, years ago, people, they didn't have trash collectors.
Right.
So what they ended up doing is burying, I know my grandfather did that for years, buried his trash,
Yep.
So, and broken dishes or
Broken
anything else, or a
dishes.
pot you didn't want anymore.
Bones, a lot of bones.
Ooh.
Yep.
Ooh. That makes me,
We had to
I hope
do-
there were animal bones.
Well, we had to do a test not too long ago because we found these bones in our collection that had been there for 50 years. And it was unclear if they were human or animal. So we had to send them to a lab to confirm that they were not human.
Whew.
Yeah.
Or else you'd have to have a forensic team and now do a cold case file.
Right, exactly.
To find out what happened. Yeah, and that's always interesting too, as well.
That's true.
You have one of the best jobs in the world,
Oh,
I
thank you.
think, because I love history, and I love just being immersed in and like I say, when I was at the genealogy, or when you're live, it isn't what do you call your library?
Local history.
Local history. And you go into those directories,
Oh, I know.
and I found like my relatives, and like there were 8 of them that lived in the same address, and you go, things must have been tough. They were.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
know. It's people lived in tight quarters.
Yeah, and I mean,
For a
it's,
long
and
time.
then it's funny because being a scientist, so it listed the names and it had LAB after, and I thought, oh, lab. What were they doing in a lab? And then it dawned on me after I did this about 6 times. Laborer.
Oh yeah, of course.
It's
Right.
like, what was I thinking? Lab.
Right. Absolutely.
I couldn't get out of my science mind.
Yeah.
So they were in labs? What lab?
Lots and lots of laborers in
Yeah.
Schenectady, for
Yeah.
sure.
It's an amazing, but I found out a lot more about my family. And that's what, and it even carried me to the next level. Let me check this, let me do that. I was in there, and I'm sure that there was another woman there, and I was going, oh my God. And I'm going, I gotta shut up.
I know. No, I know. Yeah, but even if your family isn't from Schenectady, the library has a lot of great resources if you're researching the history of your house or your neighborhood or anything like that.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here.
My
And
pleasure.
have a great Earth Night.
Thank you.
Yeah, good. I'm going to try and be there. Good. Thank you so much, Mary. And now I'm going to get my next guest, and we're going to be talking about what?
We are talking about Violet today.
What is Violet?
Violet is this beautiful musical by Janine Tesori and Brian Crawley.
It's one I'm not. You're T.J. Collins.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
What? And you're the director.
Yes.
What is this? I'm not familiar with this. Is this kind of a new, or an old, or moderate, or what?
It's moderate. So it came out, I believe I was in college. I'm not going to give names.
Yeah.
I think
We
early
won't
2000s.
talk that yet.
2000s. And there was an off-Broadway production of it. Just recently, before the pandemic, it had such a following off-Broadway. It was in colleges and regional, and they put it on Broadway with Sutton Foster and a lovely cast. And
Off-Broadway or Broadway?
On Broadway. I'm
on
sorry.
Broadway.
Yeah, on
okay.
Broadway.
Why didn't I hear this? I don't know.
You know what? It really is not your standard musical.
Okay.
We think musicals, we think flashy pianos and, tap numbers. This is not your general run-of-the-mill musical.
Okay.
It's got gospel and rock and roll and folk
Whoa.
music and country music to depict 1964. So it's about a girl who goes cross-country to see a TV evangelist in 1964.
I saw the TV evangelist mentioned
Yes.
in there that she wanted a cure well, we won't go there.
We won't go there. I don't want to ruin the surprise because every element of this musical just unveils so much. when I first came across it, I thought, oh, it's a beautiful love story about a girl and these two soldiers. One is this white, well-to-do soldier from North Carolina, and the other is a soldier who's a person of color.
Okay.
And I'm not gonna tell you which one she ends up with, if either, but I thought this is such a beautiful love story. And it's just
But there's music throughout.
music through all of it as she crosses the country. So as she gets to Memphis, you start to discover rock and roll. As she gets closer to the preacher.
You're talking 64, yeah. Elvis was at his height, yeah.
We have this
Unless
beautiful.
he was in the military. No, I can't. Why? That's right.
There is a lot of that element
Yeah,
there. Yes. And the two soldiers are just pre-Vietnam. They're just about to discover what Vietnam is.
Yeah.
And so as she gets closer to the evangelist, there's this gospel number and so much soul in this musical. But what I found more of it was, that was so surface, was a love story set against 1964 music. And just recently, this cast.
And you brought one of your cast members
Yes,
with me.
Zach
And
is
this
phenomenal.
Flick, is that Flick? Yeah, yeah, I want to get that right. So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you as well.
Yeah, so tell me a little bit about your part. You're one of the soldiers, I take it?
Yes, so I'm playing the character of Flick.
Okay.
Grady Fliggins is his name. He is a soldier in, like TJ said, pre-Vietnam, who not necessarily loves the military, but really in that time period doesn't get a lot of respect. So the military is where he's gaining that respect and sort of where he can make a name for himself. And so what I'm bringing to the character and what I love about this character is that Flick is someone who, in his life, has been judged because of things he cannot change. And so what we find in the show and what I think is so beautiful is it's an intersection of my character seeing other characters who also are dealing with things similar to what I'm going through and where those stories merge and sort of how we can come together and you see a beautiful story unfold.
A lot of
us
character
meeting.
development.
Yes.
Yeah, we're talking to Zach Kaiser. A lot of character development from what you're talking. Is that correct? Am I?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah, because sometimes you get a musical and it's a musical, blah blah blah, but you don't know the depth of the characters. It sounds like that this show is doing that.
It's beautiful. Well, I thought it was about one girl and her cross-country trip, and it's not. It's about all these different walks of life, like Zach mentioned, and how they benefit and learn from each other, which speaks to today, obviously, and how each character has their own struggle, and how together, when these three main characters struggle together, they find their friendship. They may find love. It's beautiful.
What brings people together?
Yes.
Yeah. And how's Violet? I mean, he's playing opposite her, I guess. So tell me about
Phenomenal to work
Violet.
with. Yes,
Yeah, she
absolutely.
was supposed to
So-
be here. Allie could not make it, but anyway.
Yes, Allie couldn't make it, but Allie is phenomenal to work with. She brings so much depth to the character. She has a long history with this character, and so she's thought a lot about who Violet is to her and what she brings into our space. And so playing opposite her has been a really challenging thing to match her where she is and her knowledge and what she brings to it. So playing opposite Violet, Allie, has been really great for me, and I'm super excited to share with you the things that we've been able to come up with.
Okay, Zach, I'm going to ask you a personal question. How long have you been acting?
So I started acting when I was in high school.
Okay.
So 2010, and went to undergrad and continued, but got away with it.
What did you major in?
I majored in communication, but had a
Well-
concentration in theater.
Sounds good.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
just always been a love and a passion of mine, and
Yeah.
so
Once
super
it's in your
excited to be
blood,
back.
right?
Yeah, once it's in your blood, you have to keep doing it. And you have to find.
There's
a way
no
to.
way you can get out of it. It's like one of those things that gets in there. It becomes part of your DNA.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's great. So how big is your cast, TJ?
So our cast is small. So aside from the two soldiers in Violet, pretty much every other character plays several characters, every other performer.
Okay.
So it's only 11 people in the cast, two of which are also part of the pit. They are playing violin and banjo and guitar
Are they on stage?
while acting on stage.
Yeah. Yeah,
It's
and
beautiful,
I
this
saw
talent.
production. I think I think you may have done it too at Cap or at Slock, but I know Cap Rep has done productions where the band is right on stage, and it's a great way
Oh, for
to
sure.
produce a show.
To have that element of live music that's performing for you visually, not
Yeah.
just as an orchestra.
Well, because they're
behind the
usually up in
scenes.
the pit, up in the pit. Well, I should
Yeah.
in the sky
the,
actually.
the orchestra pit, wherever they
Yeah,
are.
they're way up there in the choir loft. So, and you know they're there, but to see them, it's kind of.
Yeah, well, because music is such a part of 1964 and the picture of Americana, I felt like we had to have the image and see the instruments.
So tell me about the set. What is the set like?
This
Or
set-
is there a set?
Well, the set has, it is a set. It's a bit abstract. It has the elements of a rustic bus stop, because this is all about travel, not only outside, but internally, our journey.
Oh, your journey, your own journey, personal
Yes,
journey.
your personal journey. So there's stop signs strategically placed for when characters might want to stop. There is this, if you've ever been in a bus stop in, say, Chattanooga, Tennessee, this, that old tile floor that we would see today, because maybe it hasn't been redone, will have that element as well.
Yeah, kind of like it's still in time period, even though we're in a new time era.
Yes.
Yeah.
And because they're constantly in different places, every scene, the versatility of it, we wanted to keep big set pieces out and keep the story as the focus.
Yeah, the focus is the story, not
And the
so much
music,
the
yes.
set. I mean, in certain shows, you want the set to get the ambiance, but this, you've already got the ambiance with it.
Yeah.
It works.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so your cast is not that big as far as the vocals. Now, so I'm assuming you're not going to see any, like, what is it, 1942, or what is the dancing and stuff, or, you know?
We do have some choreography. Because we have to create, with this small cast, a nightclub. So when they get to Memphis, they go
Oh.
out. It's Violet's first big social interaction in a city like that. So we do have a dance. We do have a big dance number.
Okay.
And of course, the vocals. We have a very Janis Joplin style vocalist, a personal friend of mine who is just. The vocals in this show are stunning.
You must be so excited.
I get goosebumps and I cry.
Listen to him. Listen to him. Is he good? Tell me, is he a good director?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, just checking. Yeah. And who's producing the show?
The show is produced by Slock. It's my husband Rob is a co-producer.
Okay.
With our assistant, our stage manager, and she's a co-producer as well, Micaela Torres.
Okay, great.
She's been with the company for a while.
Yeah, Slack is just amazing. Just the shows that they put on are always so professional.
Mm-hmm.
I tell you this because I was in a musical many years ago. It was Pajama Game, and that's before your time. But anyway, and so we were doing this dance routine, and so I'm doing the dance routine, and I guess somebody must have messed up, and I go, I can just imagine what you would have said. I said, well, we're not professionals. That was the wrong thing to say.
How you do anything is how you do everything.
Oh my God, I learned that day, I learned a lesson that I have never forgotten. And I thought, I didn't think that I was saying anything. I said, well, we're not professionals. It's like when you're on stage, you know. I just want to add that I was put in my place quite early in my career on stage.
We all have a moment where we like have a big aha, like this is really what I'm doing. But you really won't find much of that. These 11 performers.
No,
are
they're
just
all, what I'm trying to say
stunning.
is these are all professional.
Yes.
When I say that, it was like, it just brought back this current in my feeling is when I said, oh, we're not professionals, but these people are professional and behave professionally.
Oh, for sure.
Now, going to the play,
Yeah.
what's the situation with COVID?
So with COVID, the audience is wearing masks. Even the actors have been wearing masks up until our tech
Okay,
week.
okay.
So the audience are asked to wear masks. I believe that the opening nights are selling quickly already, so
Yeah, I
people
would
want to get
imagine,
their
yeah.
tickets.
You got
by
Jeff
calling the
working
box
on that,
office.
right?
Jeff is amazing.
He's an amazing guy.
Amazing. Tickets are available through slocktheater.org, or you can also find them through the phone on our Facebook page.
Yeah, okay. Well, I wanted to, first of all, thank you, Zach, for being here and wishing you a wonderful experience on the stage. It sounds like you are just right into your character and can't wait to get out there and start strutting your stuff.
Absolutely. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Zach. Let's go over the dates one more
Yes.
time so that everybody knows the dates that they can go and that there are Sunday matinees, is that correct?
There are Sunday matinees. So it starts May 6th.
Okay.
That's Friday and Saturday night. And then that following Sunday is a matinee. And then the following weekend, which I believe is the 13th, 14th, 15th. The 13th and 14th on Friday, Saturday at 8.
Okay.
And then the matinee at 2.
Okay, good. So you're all set now. I bet you're so excited.
I'm so excited. I hope the audience gets the goosebumps that I get every time I watch rehearsal.
Yeah. You know, I can see the enthusiasm in your voice and in your eyes. It's very pleasant to see.
Beautiful story.
Yeah, good. Thank you so much for being here, TJ.
Thank you.
Come back again.
For sure.
Good. We're going to talk now about Spina Bifida. And that's an association that is in northeastern New York, and I know you're doing your walk and roll.
Always very easily confused with a rock and roll,
But
it
they
is a
rock and
walk.
roll when they do it. They're
That's-
rock and rollers.
You got it right.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, and first of all, I think what we should do is talk about Spina Bifida. What is it and how is it caused? There's been a lot of speculation, and probably rightly so, that folic acid has a big part in this. So.
Yeah, so spina bifida is a birth defect that occurs in the first month of pregnancy when the spinal column doesn't close or form properly. So in the most common form, or the most common form that we see at our chapter, myelomeningocele, there's an opening on the spine and nerves are exposed and it results in damage to the spinal cord. And what we know about folic acid is that taking a prenatal vitamin with 400 micrograms of folic acid can help prevent neural tube defects like spina bifida.
It's a neural tube defect.
Yeah, it is not a guarantee. There are women who have taken folic acid before becoming pregnant and during pregnancy and still had a pregnancy affected by spina bifida, but studies have shown that it can reduce the significance.
So if anyone watching is thinking of maybe getting pregnant, don't wait until the last day. Just today, start taking folic acid, 400 micrograms.
What we suggest is starting to take a woman's multivitamin
Yeah.
when you are in your teenage years,
yeah.
because that'll support all other aspects of your
Yeah,
health.
folic acid is very important for your body.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And 50% of pregnancies remain unplanned.
Yeah.
And
That's
for-
why when you say it happens in the first month,
Yeah, exactly. So we try and not take a preventative approach, but more so
a proactive.
proactive, instill this vitamin into your routine starting in your teenage and young adult years, and then you will be ready.
Yeah,
When the time
I've
comes.
taken folic acid all my life. I just feel that it's one of those vitamins that's very essential in your, your development and continuing
Yeah.
to stay healthy.
And I think a lot of women take vitamins anyway for, healthy hair, skin.
Yeah.
Folic acid will typically be in those
And
types
it's
of
usually in
vitamins.
there, yeah. You
Yeah.
won't find it in your milk or anything, but you may find it
No, there's foods that are high in folate, which is
your
another
spinach and all your green
Exactly.
vegetables. Yeah.
So they'll suggest a diet rich in folate if you're to support that folic acid, but diet typically isn't enough, so they do suggest a supplemental vitamin.
So you have someone with spina bifida, and now they're going to have some support through the rest of their lives
Yeah.
because they may be paralyzed. They may be. I mean, there's a number of things that they can have encephalitis where they get the drainage. They have to put the tube in.
Yes,
There's a lot of
so
things. Yeah.
there's a lot of secondary challenges associated with spina bifida. Mobility, paralysis, absolutely. Hydrocephalus, which is the excess fluid on the brain, and when a shunt is placed to drain that fluid, which can be life-saving, you're also having a brain surgery.
And you
So
have to have it replaced because it unrolls into the stomach, right?
people can have up to 50 shunt revisions,
Yeah.
and some people have none. It was a new technology in the 70s, so they're still learning about how that works with hydrocephalus.
Yeah.
But yeah, it can require multiple surgeries, and some people go decades without needing a revision or any changes to their shunt.
It all depends.
Exactly.
And I think that's the one thing with spina bifida is it depends where that the tube is injured, or I guess non-developed, as I want to say. Depending where that happens, you're going to have a different amount of injury.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. It's considered a snowflake condition. So no two people are impacted exactly alike. Where does it happen on the spine? What type of spina bifida? What's the size of the opening? And they've had a lot of advancements as well in medical care where there's surgery, there's fetal surgery that happens before the baby's born, there's postnatal surgery, and then there's just the fetal experience. So all of these factors combined will determine what the outcomes for that person may or may not be.
Right. So you're having the walk and roll.
Yes, walk and roll.
Roll.
Yep.
And I know you just had an event coming, just this past week or so. what do you raise that money for? What do you do with that money?
So we raise funds for programs and services. Some of our standing programs are, we have a peer support network. So as the only chapter in New York State, we will connect individuals and families to each other statewide to just get some support if they have children of similar ages or adults with similar needs that just need someone who's
Peer-to-peer.
lived it.
Yeah,
Exactly.
peer-to-peer,
And we also do some peer support groups for caregivers and adults. We have an employment training program, so we actually hire young adults living with spina bifida to gain employment experience so that they can get some career guidance and achieve their vocational goals.
Yeah.
And we host a lot of different
Do you
programs
work with
and
Stride?
events. We do work with Stride. Yep, Stride is often a vendor actually at our walk and roll, and they have a robust sports program for
I know they
individuals
do.
with
My
disabilities, including
grandson
spina bifida.
plays sled hockey.
Yeah, they just had a tournament this
They did,
past
and
weekend.
they just did down in Pennsylvania, I believe.
Yeah,
Yes,
and we actually, two of our members were presenting at an education day we just had last Saturday.
they were
and
they were
doing
just
it-
down. My grandson was down there. Yeah,
Exactly,
yeah.
yep, and they were live from the tournament presenting, so that was really cool.
Yeah, and it's been from our family's experience. Your organization has been very, very helpful, as well as Stride keeping. I mean, and he's an adult. My grandson is an adult, and he's been so immersed in the sport, and he has a job and everything. So
Yeah.
everything has worked well for him. He has his own apartment. So
Oh, yeah.
what we're looking at is trying to give, I guess, independence.
Yep.
An
That-
accomplishment to
Exactly.
everyone.
They used to consider spina bifida a pediatric condition. And so the adults who are now moving into independence, they're not prepared for that as a society, medically. We have a lot of re-educating to do on, okay, people with spina bifida are living, and they're living much longer than they previously did because of all the medical advancements. Now we need to have a society that's ready and willing to accept them and not create more barriers for them to access housing, transportation, employment, sports. I mean, health and wellness has been our biggest priority
Right.
since the pandemic because the isolation, the sedentariness. And adaptive sports has been one of our biggest pushes.
And they do skiing. They do. I mean, with
Yes.
Stride, I was surprised when I saw all the things that Stride was able to.
Basketball, lacrosse, skiing, baseball, golf. The list is endless. If there's a sport that's out there, they have a way to make it adaptive, which is really important for people with disabilities to get involved, not only for that social stimulation,
But it's that they've accomplished
mental
something.
health, physical health, all of it. It provides so many rewards, and we love to promote those programs because it's an important part of life for people with spina bifida.
Yeah. Well, you're doing a great job. I from a personal, experience and knowledge, I know that you have done quite a bit, and it's always been a support to know that you're there and you're able to help. And I know that families do connect, and because I've seen that, they
Yeah.
connect and they're able to support each other emotionally, if not, any other way, but at least they're there. If you have a problem, you can call and say, oh, and how. And I know that sometimes there's a lot of paperwork involved and things like that,
Yeah.
and new laws come out. I mean, there's a lot of things that are behind all of this.
Oh, there are so many systems to navigate for these families, and we do have a robust case management program with social work interns who are there to respond to calls from individuals from New York City to Buffalo to Albany. We are there for families impacted by spina bifida. It can be insurance, employment, housing,
Yeah.
any of those
You
large
never know,
systems.
yeah.
And it changes
And you
all the
don't know
time.
until it happens. And it's
Exactly.
nothing, you can't really anticipate you're going to have a problem until you find out you have a problem.
Exactly, and like you said, the laws change, the rules change all the time.
Yeah.
And that's why events like the Walk and Roll are really important, because when we can gather hundreds of members of this community, the ability to network and share information and resources, it's invaluable. And just seeing other people who look like you, who
Yeah.
live like you.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a really empowering, inclusive, accessible event.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for what you do, Julia. I mean, I sincerely mean
Thank you,
that,
Ann.
because you do wonderful, and I know the work that you do is so important to the families and to the participants that are affected by spina bifida. For those of you who are watching, if you're thinking about, if you're an adult woman, take folic acid. Come on, do it. Just do it. You can buy them separate or you can take them in multiple, but take at least 400 micrograms of that. So thanks so much. Roger, good to see you. Roger Savoy. He hasn't been on this show for a while, but Roger, what's going on? Because you had 3 locations of your Homebrew Emporium.
Well, we actually had 4.
4, I'm sorry, out in Massachusetts and everything. I'm sorry, I didn't keep track. But you did a lot, and you've been on the show. You've made vinegar, and you've made sassafras, and you made it all. We made regat on the show, and we had a lot of fun in the past doing that. What happened? I know the pandemic did, but how did that affect?
Well, actually, the pandemic was not the big problem that homebrew companies have had in the.
You had supply too, wasn't it?
Yeah. So our basically what we the focus is mostly on beer and wine making, but we also have cheese making and kimchi and
Oh, I love kimchi. I didn't know you did kimchi. Yeah.
If it's something you can make at home, then we have it there. When we started, when we took over in '97, and there was like 4 or 5 little stores in the area, and we consolidated that, and then we were a group of nationwide entrepreneurs that took home brewing and changed it from a garage thing to a really a powerful industry that grew very rapidly. And so what I like to say is that we actually did our job too well. In the year 2000, there was about 1,000 breweries in the United States, and there's about 9,000 or 10,000.
I know especially through the pandemic, it seemed like people really kind of flourished, and
there were a lot of problems during that too.
Yeah.
For breweries. We also have a brewery.
Yeah, you actually last time you were on, you had just opened up a
Right.
nice little bar
Yep,
next door.
Yes, yep, tap room.
Is it still there, or we?
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
good.
yeah. We're struggling still with that, as with the homebrew. So again, going back to the homebrew, to continue with besides breweries, there's now we went from like, I don't know, 5 to about 15,000 wineries, and we've also got distilleries now and breweries, cideries and meaderies. So altogether what has happened is at the time we started, there was not a lot of brew around that was good. If you wanted it, you had to make it. And now there are, like I said, 10,000 breweries. You can go anywhere, and you'll trip over a brewery. And
No, I know that. I mean, even Schenectady is a number of them that opened up.
Oh yes, sure.
So what you're saying is that
Well, the homebrew stores we taught over 1 million people how to make beer and wine, and they started businesses. And each one of those businesses, on average, takes about 6 or so people.
so they found new suppliers. Is that what you're
Well,
saying?
what happens is they, when a brewery opens up, that's a whole different scale of operation than what we offer.
Right, because you don't offer that kind of bulk
Well, we do.
product. Oh, you do? Okay.
We do, but we can only supply up to a certain point. A lot of the breweries are small, like us. We have a 3-barrel system. If anybody's been to, say, the pump station, that's a 10-barrel system, and you can easily find companies with 20 barrels,
Like
30 barrels,
like
100
Frog
barrels.
Alley here, yeah.
Right. So we've got all these people have started breweries. Those people were the ones who made the most homebrew, and now they're not making it. And so what's happened is that the homebrew industry has basically collapsed. In the local area, we had one that closed about 3 years ago in Latham. There is one in Schenectady, Saratoga, that just closed in January.
But you're going online, so that may
we're
be your
online, but
yeah.
that's
But
not
I mean that may be your salvation. No.
there's much bigger places on that.
So what I'm hearing from you, Roger, is that this industry has evolved.
Oh, it's changed dramatically.
It's like when they were making corn brooms, and
Well,
then it developed into using.
It's like being a buggy whip manufacturer.
Exactly. So what's happened is your business has really, not that it's erased, it's just evolved into.
It's imploded.
Yeah.
What we're doing is we've actually we've closed 2 of our stores in Massachusetts, and we will be closing the 3rd one there, and we're going to concentrate specifically on our
In the one in
area
Rensselaer.
here. And what we'll be doing is combining the 2 homebrew and the brewery together as one company now. We as a brewery are allowed to sell homebrew products, whereas as a homebrew store we cannot sell beer. So
So you have 2 different,
So
Okay, what makes sense.
Right. So we're changing our focus, and we'll still be doing a lot of homebrew, but we'll also be looking more at the brewery, and so. Our focus has changed. That's all. I'm
sorry to hear that, because in the early years, my gosh, you were so busy, and you were
we're still busy. I guess.
Yeah, no, but I mean, it was a different,
It was growth.
exuded a different
Yeah.
feeling about your business.
Oh yeah, and I still love it. It's great.
Yeah.
I love talking to all the people. We have a great time. And all the breweries and things. We have an awesome relationship with all of our the other breweries that we work with, because we still work with most of them around here. And if you talk to most of them around here, they will know who we are and may have even gotten their start from us. So we're really happy about that. We had a lot of positive results that we brought to this area and Massachusetts.
absolutely.
We've been responsible for dozens and dozens and dozens of breweries. And,
So if we talk to our audience here, suppose you want to try something, making something. I mean, with the pandemic, people have been creative. They've learned how to make their own soap, whatever, they try something. Okay. But maybe you want to teach your kids or whatever. What could they come to you for to teach?
Well, it
to
depends
make
on the,
something.
on the time, on the age of the kids. It depends. I mean, you can make as we have done on air here, you can make a mozzarella cheese in 45 minutes.
You made regatta. I saw
We made
you
a
make
regatta.
that was like
Yeah.
an amazing thing.
Yeah.
He's standing there doing it, and all of a sudden he says, "There it is."
Yeah, my daughter was here
Yeah.
with that time.
Yeah.
And that's a good age, 8 to around 13-ish or so, because in an hour they can be actually eating it. I mean, that's some pretty good feedback there.
Yeah.
When you make it and you eat it, and it's really cool.
Yeah, well, that whole thing, you grow it and eat it, that you got something
Sure.
you've done.
Yeah.
Soda, you made.
Soda, yeah, we've all sorts of soda.
You made vinegars.
Vinegar.
So
as
they
I
can
said-
come to you to get kits to
Yes.
do these. Is
All
that
of those
correct?
are- all of those.
Or order them online.
Yes. Well, it's a lot of these kind of things are. You can order them online, but then you need to talk to somebody about how to actually do it.
Yeah, no, I
You know,
understand
so
that. Yeah.
When we
You
start,
get those little tips that
Right.
nobody really knew about. Yeah.
Right, exactly. And so yeah, we like people to come to talk to us, because then we can make sure they got it right.
And you're located in Rensselaer.
We're in Rensselaer on Route 4. Exit 8 is probably the easiest way to get there.
Okay.
And we're open 7 days a week. Biggest store in New York State for homebrew. And with having closed 2 stores recently, we are packed with
I'll bet you are,
inventory.
because it all has to come somewhere.
Yeah,
You
all
gotta-
is
yeah,
stuff
so
in
yeah,
there.
your inventory is going to be consolidated.
right.
But at least you got rid of the expenses of the other.
Well,
yeah.
So, I mean, this will allow us to focus on what we do here and what we do well, and we will. We're still having a lot
You're a
of fun.
survivor.
It's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean,
How many employees do you have? Or do you?
Well, now we have 4.
4, okay.
Yeah, so at one point we had 25, so, yeah.
25 to 4. I mean, you talk about a reduction in staff. I mean, granted, you had different locations, but the point is that
Sure, yeah.
that's a big loss for, the wage earners.
Well,
I'm sure they go somewhere else.
A lot of the people, our people in Massachusetts, one of the things we had problems with doing was keeping people at
really?
the store because they were always snatched up by the breweries.
Oh, you got experience, so let's hire them, right? So
Exactly.
we don't have to teach them
Exactly.
anything.
Right, so.
Oh, that was pretty crappy.
Well, it was just part of what we had to deal with. It
Yeah.
was fine. We had there was a lot of people that were interested in. We had no problem finding replacements. We had a lot of part-timers in the Boston area. It was mostly students that
Yeah.
were college.
I don't know. I'll tell you, Roger, I am in awe at you because I owned a business, and I know what it's like to own a business. But I didn't have 3 other branches. And I can't even imagine
It's
the
tough.
fact that you have branches in Boston from here. I don't know how you traveled. I mean, because you were all over the place.
Well, my son works with me, so he has done a lot of that work for me. I mean, between the two of us, one of us was on the road. So.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, he's in Massachusetts today.
Yeah. So is Anita doing any work for you, or what?
What?
Is she doing it? Your wife?
Oh, yeah. Well,
I mean, did she take over a store or not? No.
well, she's.
She's an
actually,
accountant. She's an accountant,
She's
right?
an accountant. She's
Yeah.
got, and she's. We also own the building that our brewery is in. And,
Oh,
and
that's
all
good.
that. So we have. We've been working on the whole thing there.
It's a strip mall.
Little strip mall, and we have some really nice tenants. Unmatched Nutrition. It's like a shake nutrition place,
Yeah.
and Buell's Carpeting and Joe Scott's Patio. So, and then we're building out another site on there for another customer right now.
But
And-
so what you're doing is you're adapting.
we're adapting, right?
Yeah.
We're changing with what we have to do in order to
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate your coming here and sharing your
I love
story
talking
with
to you.
everybody. You stay there. I just want to tell our guests or viewers who's coming on. In May, we got the YWCA coming on in May. We've got the Schenectady Civic Players. We have Proctor's Educational Programs. They have some great programs here. Kids Art Festival, St. Paul Center is going to be here. Singles Outreach will be talking about their summer programming, and the Schenectady Historical Society will be with us again. And I also want to wish a happy Ramadan for those that are celebrating that. That's on April the 2nd through May the 2nd. And of course, after that, we have, I believe, after that was Easter, which is on the, I guess, the 15th. We have Passover coming up as well, and that's, let's see, we're looking at that. We have Passover, and then, of course, after that, I think we're running through those slides there, is Earth Day. So we have quite a few. There they are. I see. Oh, what is that one? Okay, there it is. Oh, that's Easter, right? Okay, good. And then, yeah, we're good. And Passover, and then Earth Day. So I want to wish you all a great month. We have really some great things coming up, and we hope that you'll avail yourself to some of these free events that are coming up. And remember that on the 23rd, the Schenectady Historical Society will be having their Earth Night event, which is a free event over at the Maybe Farm. So please check that out. And of course, the last performances of the Beat the Snow concert are coming up as well, and 2 of my crew members will be there performing. So thank you all for watching. I'm Ann Perilla, and I'm your host for Capital Region Today, and I'm so happy to be here with you.
Okay, that's it.
Okay, we did it. Down to, I have one.